What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're reacting to the final episode of Vivy Fluorite Ice Song. This one is titled Fluorite Ice Song. And the reason why I say question mark is because this series will also be getting a special next week. 86 announced they would be doing a special for next week. No idea what it actually is going to entail. And it looks like this show is also going to have a special at the end of another week. So I'm assuming this is the finale to the actual story and the finale to the anime as a whole. I don't know what the special is meant to be, whether it's going to, again, be an animated special with like a side story type OVA thing, or if it's going to be like a live action, like cast and production crew talk through the show. I really have no idea. You don't normally get specials immediately a week after the show's aired, and for two shows to both be doing it on the same day is very weird. So I don't quite know what the intention behind that is. I guess we'll see. For 86 it made more sense because they had an upcoming sequel, split core essentially, part to their show. Vivy, as far as I'm aware, is not going to be continuing beyond this. I feel like this is a fairly wrapped up story by the time we finish this. At least I'm hoping it's going to be a fairly wrapped up story. Maybe they leave it open-ended enough that we can still explore these characters a little bit. But honestly, with the situation we're in, I would find it hard to have that continuation because, okay, so we've talked to the archive. It's been observing humans for 115 years, because it was around 15 years before Vivy was created, to analyze humans and AIs and to keep track and also do some future predictions out of it as well, which is always dangerous. And it has decided that no matter what timeline happens and what events Vivy changes, it still comes to the point where AIs should replace humans and human evolution just kind of stops, and the only way is for AIs to take over in their place. However, because Vivy has a very unique ability to be more human than any other AI, essentially, in being able to create something of her own volition, like without being told to do anything or like inspired by anything, she just sat down and made a song. It took many years, don't forget, but she managed to actually just write a song. The archive says, okay, if you can sing from the heart, which is something that has been very much mentioned throughout the series, it will halt its actions and reconsider. So we've got to sing, and almost certainly it's singing over our ED song that we've had the entire season, and is the song that all the AI are singing as they go crazy, which they didn't in the very first episode when we first saw the attack, but that's fine. That would have been a bit of a spoiler if we had, I suppose. Although not many people would remember that, be like, oh my god, that's the song, but it's fine. Hearing the song being sung was still creepy as fuck, and it still reminds me of the Become as Gods chanting from Nier Automata, because it was just like, it just feels so similar in theme. But yeah, Toak decides to raid Ariashiki Tower, which is where the archive servers are located. But because it's where they're located, the archive essentially has full control over the building. And apparently this building can do some building rearrangement shit, which ends up crushing to death pretty much everyone there. It's only Vivy and Matsumoto really survive. And she can't sing. So the countdown for the satellites goes down. I think they said 30% of the satellites in the air came down in that initial bombardment, and then they started queuing up further satellite strikes and such, which, yeah. I think I saw a comment, I think it was Rex that pointed this one out, that can they just bring down every satellite? Because surely they'd need some satellites to keep the archive working, and that's a good point, actually, because if the archive is controlling AIs from all across the world, you kind of need those satellites to bounce off of to get round to the other side of the world, because how else are you meant to get the signal around there, right? I'm going to assume that's probably what is happening, but it's probably like maybe 2% of the world's satellites are focused on just the AI aspect. And honestly, if AIs are going to continue to overtake and replace humans, I'm sure AIs could figure out how to launch rockets and actually put more satellites back up in the air. I mean, they have the knowledge, and they're AI, so they can, in theory, remove the human element of mistake out of it and be maybe more efficient because of it. Whether that means the AI could innovate of themselves is another question. Because if they just exist for their mission, can they break that and find other reasons to do things? Because sure, they can make all this stuff, but they're not really making it for them. They don't need to. They don't need to make much. Because once they've got something, like, we don't need food production. We don't need all the animals on the planet at that point, really. Which... Hang on. Excuse me. That actually might help global warming, right? If you, like, have no more need to farm anything, like no animal farming, no crop farming. That feels like it could have a net benefit for the planet. Although crashing a few thousand satellites into the Earth probably doesn't do too much good either. Swings and roundabouts. I mean, you gotta make some progress. You gotta crack a few eggs to make an omelette, right? It just means you gotta bring down a few satellites to change global warming. That's a phrase. So yeah, I'm kind of curious to see where that goes. But the thing I'm most curious about, let me just make a note of this, because talking and writing at the same time is very awkward. The thing I'm most curious about is we are going to be sent back in time to just when the outbreak started in order to maybe have another go at this. We can do it again. But this time, we're not going to go save Matsumoto, or Osamu, I should say. It's easier if I say Osamu and then Matsumoto to distinguish the two characters, because they're both Matsumoto. So Matsumoto is referring to the AI that we've got, and then Osamu is referring to the guy. But we're not going to go save Osamu this time, like we did in this timeline. We're going to let him die, which also means he's in theory going to send the thing back to complete the timeline to get us back. Yeah, time stuff's weird, alright? I don't know how this series handles time, and this might actually answer it, because when we sent Matsumoto back, he didn't exist 100 years ago. So we were just sending something back, and then it came to fruition, and it never existed in our current timeline, so Matsumoto would never meet himself from the current timeline. But if we're sending Vivy back, would she still see the Vivy that was also there? Like, at the time? Because Vivy existed. This timeline happened, we sent her back into the timeline. Would she meet herself? Or are we sending her data back to overtake the current Vivy? Like, how does their time travel work? It was kind of easy with Matsumoto, just because he didn't exist and was never going to exist, so we could never have that interaction. But Vivy does, and that could be kind of confusing to work around and understand how time in this world works. As soon as you deal with time travel, you've got to consider what type of time travel you're doing. Whether you're just branching off a separate possibility in the world, like, are you, like, how are you going back? Are you going back into your same timeline? Are you branching off timelines? There's so many ways to do time travel, and a lot of them are very, very confusing that I don't have any comprehension of. I saw a graphic of how, like, time travel is handled in different, like, sci-fi universes, and I'm just like, oh. So yeah, I'm kind of curious to see how they do this one in that sense. But yeah, almost certainly this is going to end with Vivy singing over the ED, finally, because we've kind of been building up to that, and I'm kind of curious to see where it goes from there. And since, well, if we're going back to when the outbreak started, right, that means AI is going to be killing humans. We can't avoid that. So even if we sing and stop the archive from commencing its attack, isn't that the just death of androids? No human would allow androids or AI to exist if they just turned lethal on them at a moment's notice. No warning. Why would humans ever allow AI technology to exist, right? They would surely shut down the archive, which would sever connection with a lot of AIs, so they'd have to scrap them as well. I just don't see this being an ending where AIs can exist in this world, like, can exist in harmony with humans. If you wanted to do that, you'd have to go back in time before the attack ever started and make contact with the archive and say, hey, you're going to make this decision. Let me prove to you why you don't need to. But as long as we can stop the satellites coming down, I guess that's going to be fine, but it's still going to be an absolute massacre in the first, like, hour or 2 hours that it's going to take to actually get to that point. So yeah, I'm not optimistic about the future of AI, let's just put it that way, but I guess we'll see what they want to spin. But we're going to load the episode up here. As per usual, these are time-based format access here on YouTube. If you want to see the full picture and picture, go to my Patreon down in the description below. £4 a month gets you access to all picture and picture reactions I do on the channel, which is everything from the current seasonal lineup, as well as Patreon request shows such as World Trigger, 7 and Log Horizon Season 2. We also have movie reactions, and next weekend we'll be doing I Want to Eat Your Pancreas, the movie. It was meant to be this weekend, but I kind of messed that up, so sorry. We also have a special tomorrow in the form of Saga of Tiny the Evil. Shadow dropped an OVA out of nowhere. Operation Desert Pasta, I think it's called, which is something. Let's put it that way. But we'll be doing that as a special on Monday after Dragon Goes House Hunting, as our usual Monday format. But here on YouTube we do time based, so bottom left of the screen you'll see a time for the episode. I'll count down 3 to 1 play. Then play side episode, I side episode, and we should be in sync. We'll watch this one on Funimation as per usual, since they're the ones who licensed it. We have the Aniplex logo and then the Funimation logo to start, so it's about 12 seconds of logos give or take. I'll call them out as they go past, but you can also see a screen flash on my face, the mic, or this part of my headset to tell when the scenes are transitioning. So, with all that said, a lengthy intro, but there's actually a lot to cover. Let's get into the finale of this show, shall we? In 3, 2, 1, play. Aniplex. Funimation. Cheers. Here we go. Okay, we've been sent back, maybe? Looks like it. Okay, so she takes over her spots in this timeline. Okay. There's the singing. Okay. Runs from the AI again and gets... Oh, we save this one. Okay. Can't keep him alive forever. Nice. That was very abrupt. Okay. Let's carry it out. Still curious how time in this universe works, but it's fine. I'll wait for someone smarter than me to figure out. Alright. Here we go. Meeting up with Toak again. We went straight here this time. With terrible shots. Yep. Satellite's coming down. That must be a damn big satellite. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Because I've done this before. Mm-hmm. Right. Okay. How this time? At least we know the building will. Oh God. Mm-hmm. Hmm. Okay. But how are we gonna do this? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Everyone is a bit optimistic. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yep. Hmm. Yep. It's a sign of our coexistence. Hmm. It's one way to rally them. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm guessing it's going to be the main stage at Nearland, surely. Or it might be the stage she first started at. We'll find out when we get there. Hmm. It's about the best we can do. Mm-hmm. 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 12 hours remain. So we've got plenty of time to do it, but. Or is it the timelines we're computing? Okay. We're now branching off into another one. That's Moto Des. Hmm. Hmm. Well. Mm-hmm. Question is which stage? Main stage or where she started? I think it's back to the small one. Hmm. Hello. No, he's still around. Hmm. Okay. Hmm. No. What? What? Where's this underhanded trick that's going on right now? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just a projection. That's everyone. Not just AI. Everyone. Mm-hmm. The lighting in sync with the footsteps was nice. Mm-hmm. It's starting. Whew. Well, not all of them are surviving. Nice. One got through. The abrupt finish. Oh. Now what? Now what does the archive think? Hmm. Yeah. And roll credits with. Okay, so they're just standing down, not doing anything right now. People are trying to find out what's going on. See, still people freaking out about the one android that is still moving, right? Or AI. Explain what's going on. Yeah. Still destroying them, yeah. I don't think you can talk people out of that, though. Okay. Post credits. Vivy gonna reawaken? Back in the archive. Oh, sure, Hiccup. Well, interesting end. Yeah, okay. Interesting end beat to just finish on. Yeah, that was a very interesting beat to end it on there. So, what are they implying with that? It very much looked like her archive, so I don't know whether she's actually. Well, it's resembling the archive, but it's not actually the archive. Are they kind of implying that she lives on? Actually, let me go to that shot of the outside. Are there people there or the AI as well as people there? Because I can't imagine this world ever allowing AI again. No, all humans. All almost certainly humans. No. Huh. Okay, maybe we do need this special to help wrap up what's going to go on in this world afterwards, because, like I said, this feels like a very complete story. It's not trying to leave it open-ended. At least open-ended enough that the characters we know can exist, but not to the point where we have a story narrative thread. But maybe Vivy's like AI kind of lives on in another form, or another body at least. Maybe that's what they're implying with it. Very interesting. Very good performance. I hope the full version of that song is available. I'd like to know what that actual... Let me see if I can find it. It might just be an edit of the version that we already have. ED full. What is the name of it? That's it. Episode 10. That's the piano theme. Fluorite Eyes Song, I guess, is the name of it, right? This was posted just recently. Does it have lyrics? Yeah, it does. Okay, so there is a full 5-minute 44 version of this song available. I will post this to the Discord, because we basically got the full version here before it got abruptly cut. So I'll post this on my Discord for those who want to hear it. I might try and I'll maybe put it in the comments or something as well for those of you who are interested. Whether I actually remember that is another question, but it'll definitely be on Discord because I'm just about to go post it. Yeah, very abrupt ending. I'm still a little confused about the way they handle time travel in this show, just a little bit, but it's fine, I guess. I'll wait for someone more intelligent than me to kind of explain what's going on with the time travel there, I suppose. But yeah, I'm curious of the aftermath of this, because I don't think no matter what PR you do, humanity's not going to just suddenly let that happen. I don't think humanity's just going to let that continue. The Archive suddenly decides, you know what? Let's kill everybody. And somehow it was averted by an AI. Cool. That's good. But something with that sort of potential, you'd never let get into that sort of position ever again, right? I don't know. Maybe I'm just cynical of the idea of like AI and humanity existing together, but in that context, I don't think you can. There's going to be so many people, because I think we're implying the Archive, when it told AIs to go berserk, it wasn't just a centralized location of this like one city or this one country. It was worldwide, I'm assuming. So that's people all around the world, and in 12 hours, lots of people probably died. In 12 hours, let's be real here. It's not like a few hundred died in like one incident. We're talking tens of thousands, potentially hundreds of thousands of people all across the world probably should have died in that incident in 12 hours. At least. So that doesn't just suddenly become normal. You wouldn't just suddenly allow that to exist. There's no way. So I'm curious to see what the aftermath of the world is. Maybe the special will cover that. But I guess we'll see. But we'll come to that next week and see what we end up getting, I suppose. But yeah, overall, I must say I really enjoyed this series. It was certainly not quite what I expected going in, that's for sure. I think this was a surprise to a lot of people, because I think a lot of people, when they just saw this without reading anything up about it, thought, oh, this might just be like a musical idly type of show. Oh boy, it wasn't. Like, yes, it had a very strong connection to music, but it was nowhere near as the way you'd perceive it to be. And so, yeah, this is a very interesting series. I like the idea of it. The time travel's a little iffy, but we'll see if someone can put it together for me. Either on the comments here, or on a forum post, or a review, or somewhere can maybe make a bit more sense of what type of time travel this show utilized. Because like I said, there's many different types you can use for storytelling. I'm just kind of curious which one this technically would fall under, or another example of it that maybe I might be able to understand. Because time travel shows are always weird. Like, they're always weird, and yeah, it just becomes complicated. Especially when you do it again in the last episode of your show, and you don't have enough time to really explain it. That's kind of... Gekido kind of experienced that a little bit. They were doing too much at once. Yeah, yeah. Overall, though, like the fight choreography was brilliant. Like whoever was primarily behind the fighting choreography for the close quarter fighting, hats off to you. Like, I want to know what other works this person has done, or these people have done, rather. I'm sure there's multiple people who worked on that as well. Because I want to see what other examples they have, and I also kind of want to know who they are, because if I ever see them again, I kind of want to know, because I have high expectations now. Like, if they're, like, permanent Wit Studio employees, then I kind of want to look out for other Wit Studio productions that will have this, because Wit Studio have one more show really coming out this year, and that is Osama Ranking, King Ranking, which seems to be a coming-of-age story with something like medieval. It seems to be like a medieval show, adventure fantasy. So I'm kind of curious about that. I mean, adventure fantasy has a lot of close quarter combat potential, so I mean, I'm in there. I think you can have some good work there. And Wit Studio's style, like, they have very stylized shots for still shots, and it's very interesting to see. It would be amazing if in the future their stylized look became their consistent look, rather than having the two different looks, like, so your close-up Wit Studio-like shots and then just regular animation. If we ever got to the point where doing that Wit Studio style for regular animation was easy enough to do, which for CG obviously would be once you finally get the technology and the money for it, but in traditional animation I feel like that's quite an ask, and would probably be better suited to a movie format, since you could dedicate years to just an hour and 40 minutes of content rather than 4.5 odd hours of content in like a very rushed form. But it'd be kind of interesting anyway. But yeah, that's going to do it for today, guys. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this series as much as I did. I had a blast with this. Brilliant series. I think deserves all the accolades it's probably going to get. I wonder if the ending might be disappointing to some people. I do wonder, because it wasn't exactly the most well-paced ending. Let's just put it at that. I'm not going to be too harsh on it, because I actually really enjoyed it. But I think some people might consider that ending a little rushed. I think that would be a fair criticism of it. And it's probably what's holding this back from being an overall 10 out of 10. I'll rate it when we get to our end-of-season rating, which will be... actually, when will our end-of-season rating be? Let's see. Probably not until, like, week beginning the 5th of June, I guess, because Shadow's House would be one of the last shows to finish, I think. Yeah, it'd have to be after Shadow's House, because I'm not going to wait till To Your Eternity finishes, because that's got another 10 episodes left. So it'll almost certainly be when Shadow's House finishes. I think that's the last show of the season. So, yeah, week beginning 5th, I'll do a wrap-up video for this season, and we'll get to rating this series. But I think it's at least a solid 9 in my mind currently, before thinking back too much. I think I'd at least give it a 9, so... it's going to get highly rated, and I very much enjoyed it, so leave a like if you did as well. Let me know your comments on this finale, as well as the entire series as a whole, now that you've watched it. Don't forget to hit subscribe as well to see other Spring 2021 shows that are now wrapping up on the channel, as well as the upcoming Summer 2021 season, which I'll be doing a preview video for here next week very soon. Thank you for watching. Till next time. See you guys later.